Hey, good morning, folks. This is Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. We are here at Maple Street Biscuit Company. I tell you, I love these guys. They have been with me since day one, celebrating Main Street business, and that's what they're all about is community. So it's one of those things when you look at what we try to do to be able to bring in just some solid, good content for that Main Street entrepreneur. That truly is how Maple Street got started. It's what they're about today. They are community driven. And I tell you what, I don't care what you're doing. If you're not helping to build your community today, whether that's brick and mortar, whether that's in nonprofits or helping out around town, I don't care what it is, you don't have it down right. That's what this is all about. So my hat's off to them for helping me, guiding me there. Also, Freddie Sheets over at Allen's Cooling. You guys know he is my tattoo artist, and he is running a really cool little gamification right now. If you go over and hit his Facebook profile, Freddie Sheets, he's actually running for it's kind of a raffle type deal. You know, you put in $100 and you can get a day's worth of tattoo. And I tell you what, that is a deal and a half right there. So it's like, you just can't beat it. You know, some of the other great sponsors that we have that I've just got to give a shout out to is the Direct Selling Edge conference. They're coming up in February of 2020. It's going to be at By Design software technology company down in Tampa. You don't want to miss this. If you are looking at starting a business, if it's in the direct sales arena, if it's internet marketing, I don't care what it is, that's the conference you guys need to go to. But today I want to look at something special. We're going into that last quarter, 2019. We're headed into 2020. I want to talk about the 5 keys of building an iconic reputation, an iconic brand. This doesn't matter. You can be a business, you can be small, large, you can be an individual. Matter of fact, you could be looking at this saying, how do I do this at my career? You know, I'm just getting out of college and I'm getting ready to become a CPA or an attorney or whatever the case is. How do you literally grow this? What is it that you need to do? A lot of times we don't talk about iconic brands. What we end up talking about is legacy companies. And it's like, why would we talk about legacy companies? Now think about this for a second, because if you go study the word legacy, it talks about what has been, you know, what the history of something. Well, do you want to be an Amazon or do you want to be a Sears? Think about that for a second. Do you want to be a Disney or do you want to be, I don't know, one of them that's no longer here? Think about the record industry. For years we had all these giant record labels, all these studios where you could go in and buy cassette tapes, you could buy 8 tracks, they're gone. So do you want to be a legacy company? Do you want to be iconic? You know, an iconic brand in the direct sales arena would be a Mary Kay, a Tupperware, an Amway. A legacy company inside of direct sales would be a Monavie, a Zango, Changes International. These companies are gone. So look at this for a second. Maybe you said, well, wait a minute, Troy, what you said, personal brand. Okay, let's look at that for a second. Do you want to be a Bernie Madoff? Or do you want to be somebody current? Do you want to be a Sandy Wilde who's gone or a Jamie Dimon who was his protege? Think about this for a second as we move this thing forward, because you get to determine whether you are a legacy brand, a legacy person, an iconic brand, where you're going. What's your reputation supposed to be? Is it supposed to be something here today, gone tomorrow? Or is there's going to be something that you leave behind? See, one of the greatest accomplishments in an individual's life isn't the time that he's on the stage. It's when he's sitting in the audience or she's sitting in the audience and someone on the stage quotes them. I remember sitting in the green room a few years ago with Les Brown. We were just talking. He was pouring into me. I mean, this is an icon, without a doubt. And as we were sitting there, he said, Troy, always remember this. It's not about you. It's about the people that you serve. It's not about you. It's about the person, the one individual that you can learn their story and you can pour into them. And that just has always rang to me. I constantly am looking at trying to do that. One of the one of the mantras that we use in our company is that we're not ever to be number one. We're always to be number two. And at first, inside of the sales arena, inside of competition, people say, why would you want to be number two instead of number one? And it's because we built our agency around serving other people. So our goal is to make our clients number one. It's to make them the hero in the story. It's to build them into something that becomes iconic, whether those are individuals or whether those are companies. So when I talk about these 5 keys here in a minute to build your brand, I want you guys to write these down. I want you to be thinking about where you're going to take this going into 2020, what it is that you want. And you can apply these 5 principles, these 5 keys to any relationship that you have, any type of brand, any type of business that you're trying to grow. Works across the board. Number 1, you've got to constantly be playing offense. You can't be sitting back on your laurels. You can't be playing defense, waiting for them to come to you. You've got to constantly be on your offense. You've got to be looking at where that future is going to be, where you're going, what you want to do, where you want to take it. That's how you build that reputation that you want to be known as. There's times when we all go through that defensive posture. Somebody hits us with critical content. Somebody's really negative to us. We just flat mess up. Doesn't matter what it is. But you've got to constantly be playing offense. Using myself as an example, a lot of you guys know my story. You know what happened in 2013 when the Securities and Exchange Commission hit us because of Zeke rewards. I could have played defense. I could have crawled into a hole, said, look, I'm going to wait till all the smoke clears. And we didn't do that. What we did was we started looking at all of the noise across the internet. We started focusing in on, hey, what is it that the critics are saying? What is it that the haters are saying? What is it that we can do? Waited 24 hours, and then we started going into their communities. We didn't go into our community. We went into their community. It was almost 48 hours before I ever posted anything in all of our properties that were on the internet, because I wanted to go in and I wanted to answer the critics. We took an offensive stance on that. Now, we weren't offensive in our language or anything like that. I was very humble, obviously, but we nailed this. We did not wait. If you want to build an iconic brand, if you want to build on your reputation, you have to take an offensive posture and go out there and build something. Number 2, you've got to get your promise and your performance right. Now, this is something that we teach companies constantly, and we've started going in and teaching individuals now. A lot of the times you will be making a promise and you will overpromise, underdeliver, and it's because your performance matrix are not there. You're not walking your walk, so to speak. So what do you do? How do you do that? Listen, you need to know what your defining purpose is. You guys have heard me say, I just beat this into you guys. What is the problem that you solve? What is the need of the customer you're trying to serve, is another way to say that. That's what you've got to look at. That's the key to this, because you have to know what you're promising. If you're a corporation and you've got multiple products, you have to do this for each product, okay? But if you're just an individual, if you're just building a brand right now, if you're trying to reestablish your reputation, then you have to know what your promise is. And then everything has to line up. Everything that you do has to line up. If you're a company, listen, the biggest part where we see failure on this is when it comes to customer service. People do not focus on the customer service. You have to focus on making sure that delivery, that performance is matching up. If you're an individual, everything that you do front facing, everything you do backwards facing in your business, in your life, has to line up. I'll tell you a story on this. I was in Tampa somewhere 2015, 2016. We were at the Grease funds down there. Bob Grease is just a dear mentor when it comes to raising private capital, working with businesses. And I had a client that was looking for some venture capital, so we'd all gone in there. This individual, on the surface, stellar. Business was going great. Everything was going good. It looked phenomenal. I'm not a partier, so I'd gone back to the hotel the night before. I'm focusing in on what we're going to do for the presentation. And we're sitting there in the boardroom, we're sitting there getting ready to sign the deal for them to get the funding that they need, when I get a text from this individual's partner saying, "Hey, have him call me." I said, "Okay." I said, "Guys, can we just take a real quick break?" Told this individual, call his partner. Long story short, he had gone out the night before, had gone to a club, had brought a lady back to his hotel room, and she was still there, and she was trying to thank him for the evening. This is a gentleman with kids, a gentleman that's married. It's a gentleman whose performance didn't line up with the promise. What was happening behind the scenes wasn't conducive to what was in front of the. Here he has he's got key leaders with him. This is a big deal, and his life was a shambles. Long story short, company's no longer in existence today. You have to promise and perform. You have to line that up. Number three, stop selling. What I mean, so many of you guys now are just puking on yourselves. You got all this advertising on social media, your blogs, your website. It's all about you. You're trying to sell your product. We are not in a selling generation. We're in a buying generation. Okay, you need to be leading. You need to be not the hero in the story. You need to be guiding. You need to guide your customers so that they understand, here's what we do, here's how we do it, here's how your life is going to look after you come and you either hire me as a consultant, or you buy our product, or you buy our service, or whatever, and here's how you get it done. Boom. That's it. Stop trying to just sell constantly. That's what separates somebody that's iconic from legacy. Sears continued to try to sell things. iRiver is a company that's not around anymore, but they were the number one leading brand when it came to MP3 players at the beginning of the 21st century. They were killing it. Their designs were awesome. Their designs were great. Late to the game was Apple. Apple comes in. They overpromised. They underpromised and overdelivered, and they just wiped it all out. Today, we don't even hear the term MP3 player. If we hear that term, it's about an iPod, and even iPods have become extinct because of the smartphone. So think about that. You have to make sure that you're doing exactly what you say you're going to do, and you're going to stop selling it, and you're going to deliver. Deliver on excellence. Deliver on giving people what it is they are looking for, not what you want to sell. That's key here. Number four, you've got to get critical. Another way of saying that is you've got to get negative, not out in the public, on yourself. See, so many times we go through this mantra today: be happy, don't worry. Let me tell you something. There is not one legacy company that could not have become iconic had they critically started looking at themselves. That's what a SWOT is for. If you guys know what that is, you look at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunity, and your threats. Okay, you need to dig into that from a reputation standpoint, from an individual standpoint, from a corporate standpoint. You have to dig in and say, okay, what is my weakness? What is it that I'm not performing on? What is it that I can do to make this thing kick? If you don't do that, you are going to fail. Okay, because somebody's going to come out and do it better. We call that blue ocean effect. Okay, you have to look at, what is my weakness? Every major iconic brand continually reinvents themselves every year, every 3 years, every 5 years. Restaurants do that. You go into a restaurant, the theme of that restaurant will have shifted 5 years from now. The whole the decor, everything. That's the key if you want to build this thing and build it right. So you got to get critical with yourself. Major in the minor issues. Make sure you fully understand where your weaknesses are, where the cracks in the foundation are, and then build upon your strengths. Okay, sometimes that means bringing in a new crew and helping you out in those areas. Do whatever it needs to be done, but you better start going critical so that you can get this thing taken care of. And number five, you've got to give reciprocal respect. If you're a coach, if you're a trainer, if you're out there in that business, don't be dissing other people. If you're selling a health and wellness product, don't be slamming somebody else. If you're in direct sales or network marketing, don't be hyping up your compensation plan against somebody else's compensation plan, because although you may market it different, numbers are numbers. Okay, so The average compensation plan pays out 35 to 50%. And in the best plan out there are people failing. And in the worst plan out there, people are succeeding. So don't do that. Give reciprocal respect where it is due. And that's going to help you build that reputation. That's going to help you build that iconic reputation that you're looking for. And that doesn't mean you don't hold other people accountable. It doesn't mean that you don't go out there and talk about the issues. What it means is you do it in a respectful manner. I'll use a living, breathing example. This is an apples and oranges type deal. But Corey Augustine, who runs the MLM Resources, just a phenomenal guy. He's a watchdog. He's an icon, if you will, in this profession. And a few years ago, he took some time off, just beautiful time, raising his daughter. They're having fun. But he is an atheist, and I'm a born-again Christian. On the internet, we started to connect because I really admired the work that he's doing when it comes to holding people accountable in the direct sales arena. So I just wanted to cover him. I wanted to look at that. And as we dug into that and looked at that, we started to find that we had this tension between us. Because here I am sometimes talking about my faith, and here he is saying there is no God. Well, here's what's happened. Because we've given each other respect, because we've given each other room to share our differences, to share our opinions, to be respectful of each other, and we're out there killing it together, helping people inside the direct selling arena. Last night, really a couple of days ago, I put up a meme about the Constitution, and Corey and I got into a discussion there. When you look at that discussion, you start to see where we both continue to respect each other, even though we have difference of opinions. That's what I mean when I say give reciprocal respect. I'm not telling you to agree with everything that a competitor might do, agree with everything somebody that you're engaging with, but I'm saying you must respect them. Respect is given, trust is earned. That's the key. So let's recap this real quick, and I'll let you guys get on to work today. Play offense, get the promises and the performance in line. Stop selling, get critical, reciprocal respect. Give that to people. Guys, this is what we do. The whole podcast, everything we do is focused on helping you individually. If I can give you the nuggets of knowledge, you can apply the wisdom into your own lives, into your own business. That's the key. Folks, remember, stay humble, stay strong, and you've been listening to a voice in Main Street America.